Hello, friends. This is Larry with Rides Done Right. I'm at the Salem Roadster Show with David Jothen. David, it's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Larry.
So I've seen you around the show deal for a while. You are tied with PDX Culture, with Portland Roadster Show, and with Salem Roadster Show. And I think the Salem Association really happened in this last year, didn't it?
Well, actually, we've been partnering with both the Salem Roadster Show and Northwest Rotorama for the last few years. I've known Bob and Greg, so I've come down to help them out. And then I actually spend some time trying to recruit some cars for the upcoming 61st Portland Roadster Show.
And that is something I noticed about the three of you guys is real similar. Obviously, the three shows get along great, and you've all seen the blessing in partnering and what can come out of that. Is this something that you guys expect to continue to grow even more over the years to come?
Yes, I mean, the difference with the Portland show is we're an ISCA sanctioned show, so we get cars from all over the country that are doing what we call points chasing. The Salem show and Northwest Rotorama are unjudged shows. The participants are invited and then they get a jacket rather than competing for a trophy. But what it is this is a good testing ground for people that haven't shown before. They've either just finished a car or bought a car. They can come here, and then we, the people from Portland, and even Bob and Greg and Larry, will help them, give them some pointers on how to set up a car for a show like Portland. But yeah, I think that this relationship is only going to get stronger. It helps actually build their shows quite a bit.
So some of the, you basically just said it, then some of the cars then that you guys will see here that you really like, you'll talk to them about coming in. We'll see them in Portland.
Yes, I've picked about 6 cars that we're going to invite so far. Then we also do a Portland Roadster Show choice. That individual will get a special plaque, and they will get a free entrance into the show with their car if they're able to make it.
Oh, that's cool. Now, one of the things I've noticed in Portland is you guys blew out that other building and made it like 4 buildings, and you're doing like 400 cars a year now. Is that?
Well,
when did you guys start doing that?
We normally do over 400 cars. Last year we added the B Hall. We won't have that this year, and last year we had 537 cars. That was primarily because of the 60th. And we need room for the award stage and for Johnny Limbo and the Lugnuts, so we had them in the B Hall on the stage there. This year we'll go back to the 3 halls, but we'll still have over 400 quality cars, bikes, motorcycles, and bicycles, pedal cars, the whole run.
It makes it interesting for us when we go into cover because, man, there's a lot. You know, when we do events, we're trying to cover as much as we can, and you don't want to hurt people's feelings when you don't do their stuff, but it's hard enough to do here, and when we get to Portland, it is overwhelming. And one of the things that I notice is just from an administrative standpoint, when I see you and Dwayne and what you guys have to do in the background, wow, it's overwhelming what happens and what kind of a machine you guys have built and how well you guys administrate that show.
Well, and what a lot of people don't realize is the Portland Roadster Show is put on by the Multnomah Hot Rod Council, which is a council of 18 car clubs. We are a 501c3. Everybody that works at our show is a volunteer. We're one of the 4 largest shows in the country, and we're the only one that's staffed entirely by volunteers. Dwayne and I, it's a 365 volunteer gig. You know, fortunately, we're both self-employed, but it's a lot of work, and it is. It's you know, we kind of get a couple of days of decompression, and then we're immediately working on the next year's show. So,
for people that have not seen and weren't around to see last year's show, the comments from people that, you know, are big names, John DiAgostino and one of them, saying that it was in the top of the shows anywhere in the nation that he's been. This is a guy who goes to all the big shows, and he says this show was at the tops last year. Everybody who was there, all of us were saying, duh. I mean, it was amazing.
Well, we utilize more ISC individual classes for judging than any other show that they judge. Our prize money is equal to Detroit and Grand National, and I want to throw a thing in. We appreciate that you were there last year. You did a great job, and that helps us get the exposure for the show. You did some great interviews with Jerry Logan with his car and Dave Kindig and any of those things, especially being a nonprofit. You know, every dollar that we spend is one less dollar we have for automotive-based scholarships or the toy drive for Randall's Children's Hospital or the Children's Cancer Association. So we appreciate what you've helped us do to promote the show as well.
Well, for me, it's just been fun, and one of the things I'm enjoying about it all is that we're all building partnerships together to really grow this passion, this hobby that we're enjoying. And as we all grow together, we know that everybody that grows, all of us benefit from. So however we can make this get out there. I think the big thing is the product is already there. It's really just making sure that people understand it's there, go see it, and you'll know it's there.
And from our guests to our exhibitors to our vendors, the one thing we hear every year at the ISCA meetings, International Show Car Association, is that our show is the show they don't get any complaints about. And that's because, Dwayne and I are out on the floor. We're making sure the vendors are happy. We're making sure the exhibitors are happy and the guests are happy. And it's kind of a family affair. You're doing it for the love of the hobby. And that's the same thing with Larry and his crew up north and Greg and Bob here. Is that you're doing it. It's a labor of love, and you're just hoping that each year that individual that came will bring their kids, or they'll bring a buddy, or their wife, and enjoy the show.
So as we get ready, then we're about a month out. We're actually not about. We are a month out from the Portland Roadster Show next year. How is it that you guys follow up a 60th? That was so huge and had really everything going for it? I mean, it seems like it really raised the bar. Everybody has this expectation that, wow, is this what it's going to be from now on? I mean, it seems like it would be a tough year.
Well, and it is a challenge because, everybody geared up, the exhibitors geared up for the 60th too. So a lot of it is that, Dwayne and I, we go to SEMA, we go to Grand National, we come here, Albany, Medford, Puyallup. And it's just trying to get the top-notch cars. I mean, we've got commitments from the it's 57 Nomad built by A&M called Showmad, and it won the Slonaker at Grand National. Steve's Auto Restoration has a car that headed for Detroit that's going to compete for the Riddler. We'll have that car. Hopefully it'll be a grade 8 or a Riddler car. So it's reaching out and trying to, at least when we're bringing in less cars because of fewer hauls, and then Dave Kindig will be back again this year, and he's bringing 2 cars that were just recently built on Bitchin' Rides. It's just making sure you got the cars, and then trying to do that. The social media outreach and things like you're doing has been a big thing of getting the word out to those edge hangers, the people that, they may or may not come, but it's trying to do anything to incentivize their interest to come.
So when you talk about the 2 cars, do we know what those 2 cars are? Because for those of us that are fans, we watched all the shows, and
the black '69 Camaro with the red leather interior and the special intake, and that was at SEMA, and then the '55 Nomad, which was one of the last builds that he had built in towards the end of the season. Those will be the 2 that he's bringing. So we're really excited about that because I've had a bunch of people asking me, is the Nomad coming? Is the Nomad coming? And I was surprised to hear that it was. I didn't think he'd bring 2 such fresh builds. So that we're happy with that.
It's great news for us that are fans of that show. But one of the things that you just touched on a bit ago is that, you brought up the builders that are up here in the Northwest area. Some quality builders. These guys are putting out cars. It's good to hear that we've got one going back to Detroit, because it's that level of cars that are showing up by our own neighbors here. And for those that think that we can't put out shows that can compete, you haven't gone to shows and you haven't seen these builders and what they're putting out. One of them actually right behind us right now. It's just amazing what they're doing.
Yeah, and Halo was a product out of A&M Deluxe Customs out of Cornelius, and it won the Slonaker at Grand National 4 or 5 years ago. It was a top 10 contender for Street Rod of the Year through Good Guys. But, you got Schroeder Speed and Customs, Carolina Customs, Steve's Auto Restoration, Chips. They're just numerous, and they're all building different things. Schroeder's had a vehicle, a Willis Jeep that they built and unveiled at SEMA a couple years ago that just tore up the 4x magazines. Carolina Customs is kind of becoming well known for the C10s, the slammed trucks. And each one, and Steve's Auto Restoration, I think when people see this car, it's called the Renaissance Roadster, it's amazing. To give you an idea, he told me there was $250,000 just in machined parts on this car.
That's a lot. Now you're bringing up the Carolina guys. Last year they had the couple of trucks that were right up front. You guys actually had them right in the front area when you walked in last year. And those trucks were to die for. I mean, if you really like mean, tough-looking trucks, man, they were good looking.
Well, and trucks are always big. Every facet of the trucks, whether it's a street rod truck or just we've got a number of really quality trucks here. And And I think what it is with trucks, and I've been doing this since I was a little kid, and is that trucks are something that people can identify with. Not everybody's dad or grandpa had a Superbird or a Model A or a Coupe or a T-Bucket, but everybody had a truck in their family, and you know, they probably drove it at some point, and trucks are just, they're cool, and there's unlimited things you can do with a truck.
Well, we've hit on a lot of the categories, and if you're not stoked yet to want to go, then maybe you need to rewatch this and listen back to what it is we're talking about. All the categories are there. They're going to have everything at Portland. If you haven't been, you need to come. If you have been, watch to see how they follow up on the greatest year that they've ever had their last year. We're excited about it. I don't think we can be more excited than we are, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys come. So come out, check it out, support it, bring your family, and let's let her rip. David, thank you so much for the interview. Take care.
Thank you, Larry.
We'll see you guys next time.